Ken Derringer, or Kenneth E. if you prefer, Derringer, and live up in Hyattville, Wyoming. That's in Bighorn County.
Great. And then, Ken, tell us a couple of your favorite memories or some of the most poignant experiences you had in Vietnam.
You've probably already noticed that people who've been in combat don't like talking about that.
Right.
My dad was that way. But I was an advisor with the Vietnamese. I had to go learn to sing through my nose, I call it, to learn that language because it's so highly inflected. So a number of the things I got into, no matter how good you get, you're never native fluent. I mean, no matter what you tell yourself. So I remember one time, it was a joke, and then you got to remember it, there's a culture involved. It's not just a language. For example, if you make a mistake, the Vietnamese have no hang-ups about laughing you in your face, raucously and with a lot of mirth. Don't let it bother you, it's culture. I remember one time going in Tam Kỳ, that's the capital city of the province I was in, to visit the Pastor Kong and his family. Well, they don't have swinging doors, they just have an opening in the building, And I so stuck my head in and I hollered, Chào like, hey, everybody. So they're hoping to just barge in without them knowing I was there. From the other end of the house came a number of voices laughing uproariously. And they came out and then continued to laugh for some while I bit my tongue and waited for the opportunity to ask what I had done wrong. And it's so highly inflected, and there's some subtle differences. And I was supposed to have said "Chào ngơi." Well, "ngơ" and "ngơi" are two different words. And "ngơ" are horses, and that's what I had called them. Hi, all horses, instead of hi, everybody, So that's just an example of the things you can get into, So that's a vignette. You want another one?
Give us one more, Ken. Give us one more, and if you would you tell us which unit you were with?
I was with MACV. Well, the Military Advisory Command Vietnam, MACV, Team 16 up in I Corps up north. Our headquarters was in the provincial headquarters of Con Tum province, Tam Kỳ, and of course we were out and about a lot throughout the province, but that's where the headquarters was. I recall, what was it I was trying to recall here? Our team we had all the branches of the armed forces, less Coast Guard, no Coast Guard. But we were too small in numbers to allow the assigning of a chaplain. So we Christians would gather, and have Bible study, anywhere from a Navy 06 captain medical down to private soldiers or Air Force recruit, or beginners. And we would get together, half a dozen of us or so, and have our Bible studies. But on Sunday, if the situation allowed, we would try to get out to Reverend Kong's church, was just down the block from our compound, a couple blocks, and I'll try to make this short as I can. And we went in there, and they sat on these benches that they had made by hand, and the building they had built by hand. I call them the barefoot rice farmers, came in with their typical, you've seen the hats they wear, and the sandals, and for a Sunday service, and sat down, and they had a piano, believe it or not. A piano is a Western instrument, folks. You have a 7-note octave in Western music. They only have a 5-note octave in the Oriental languages, or at least that one they did. That's why we always say their music sounds funny, and etc. Well, so do ours to them. But for some reason, Reverend Kong and Reverend Mr. Kong's oldest boy, Min, oldest of 11 kids, which is standard procedure there too, they could play the thing. I mean, that's talent, to play a foreign culture, etc. Anyway, he was up there, and they had these hymnals, which were printed in Florida. I looked inside the cover, and they were printed in Florida. It looked just like our hymnals, except, with the musical score, Western music, and Vietnamese words, but it's an inflected language. Now, if you've got a note there that says go up, and the word, in order to be that word, has to go down, what do? I read music somewhat, and I was wondering about that, and so they'd say, he'd tell them in Vietnamese, turn your hymnals to the number such and such. And look at that. And some of the Vietnamese would do that, and some would have them upside down or wrong page, because a lot of them couldn't read. It wouldn't make a difference. They didn't need to, generally, as farmers and what. And he'd start playing. And I said, how is this going to sound? Let me give you an example of what the word "mai" means machine. The word "mai" means to sew. So if you say "mai," you've got a sewing machine. But if you get lazy and say "mai," all you got are two machines. So it gives you an example of what you might run into. So when they started singing, I look at the notes, because my Vietnamese wouldn't, but notes I can read. When the roll is called up yonder. Okay, good, I'm into this one. They started singing, and that was the most raucous noise that ever beat me in my ears in my life. Now, I'm not making fun of the Vietnamese. I'm just saying, wow. And I'm thinking I'm a music critic, and about that time the Holy Spirit nudges me and says, you look at their faces. Those people were praising the Lord. They meant it. Did I learn something that day? You better believe it.
That's amazing.
Yes,
what an experience.
You bet. And I've told everybody I can get to listen.
That's wonderful. Well, you just told a bunch more. Well, Ken, thanks for sharing those, and we're going to keep collecting these stories.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you later, and we'll get a bigger story from you.
Well, I spent a year over there, and I love people.
Well, you and I have I don't know if I told you, we have something in common. I spent a year with the Iraqis.
You mentioned that, and I had to go to language school first, DLI?
No.
Or somewhere?
No, I was an Army reservist. We got pitched into that
without
feet
the language?
first, without any language. So I'll tell you about that. All right, Ken. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.